Friday, March 24th, 2023. We kick off our 7 days of Women on the Move Moment in Women's History with Florence Ballard, an American singer and a founding member of the Motown vocal female group, The Supremes. Florence Ballard was born in Rosetta, Mississippi on June 30th, 1943, the ninth of 15 siblings. The family moved to Detroit, Michigan before she turned 10 to take advantage of the city's booming job market. Florence took music classes, sang in her school's choir, and built a reputation as a talented singer in her neighborhood. At the age of 14, she befriended the Primes, Paul Williams, Eddie Kendricks, and Kel Osborne, and performed a few gigs with the Smooth Silky Trio at Detroit venues. The Primes manager, Milton Jenkins, encouraged Florence to form a sister group to the Primes. The group was named the Primettes, and she chose Mary Wilson, Betty McLeod, and Diane Early, who would later become known to the world as Diana Ross, to become a part of the group. All sang lead in the group but Betty, who left early and was replaced by Barbara Martin. Mary Wilson had the lowest voice, Florence Ballard had the most demonstrative voice, and Diane Early had the highest voice with a razor edge. The Primettes played hops, talent shows, and house parties for fun and experience. They tried to get a deal with Berry Gordy's Motown before they graduated from high school, only to be told to try again after they finished high school. They cut a one-off record for the LaPoon label, did backing sessions for LaPoon affiliated labels, and were present during occasional sessions for Gordy. Their single, Tears of Sorrow, didn't leave much of an impression but displayed compelling harmonies and fascinating leads. Berry Gordy signed the Primettes in 1961. After renaming the group to the Supremes, they cut their first single on Tamla. Parental pressures forced Barbara Martin to quit shortly thereafter, and I Want a Guy flopped. Soon, the producers zeroed in on Diane and rarely wrote anything for Mary or Florence. After a series of flops, number one smashes became automatic. The pace was frantic, and Motown muddied the water by pushing Mary and Florence out of the limelight to spotlight Diana. Florence didn't take the snub well. The breaker came when she got tired of the relentless pace and started missing gigs. By 1967, Cindy Birdsong, formerly with Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, had replaced her as a member of the Supremes. Lawsuits ensued. The money Florence thought was sitting in a bank turned out to be a pittance. She later married Thomas Chapman, a former Motown chauffeur, in 1968, and through various connections inked a deal with ABC Paramount. George Kerr produced her first single, It Doesn't Matter How I Say It, in 1968, but radio play was almost non-existent. She completed an album, You Don't Have To, that ABC left on the shelf. Despite gigs opening for Wilson Pickett, some television appearances performing with Bill Cosby, and singing at President Nixon's inauguration party, Florence continued with no commercial success. ABC released Love Ain't Love in the fall of 1968, but let it languish. The label had soared on Florence, some say because of Chapman's constant demands, and didn't extend her a contract. She never received another record deal. Within a few years, Florence's personal and financial conditions went from bad to worse. She moved into public housing with her husband, with whom they had 3 children. Chapman would later leave the family. After receiving an insurance settlement in 1965, Florence cleaned up her situation and made another round at recapturing her career. An appearance at Detroit's Ford Auditorium gave her a needed boost. She reconciled with her husband, purchased a new home, and made several appearances on television. But the years fueled by alcohol weakened her system, And on February 22nd, 1967, Florence Ballard passed away at the age of 32 years old due to a fatal cardiac arrest. In 2001, the UK-based Spectrum released The Supreme Florence Ballard, a compilation featuring her released and previously unreleased solo recordings. Florence's strong vocals and her spirit of determination will continue to be celebrated for years to come. This has been your Divine Vision Theater Company moment in women's history, celebrating the women who tell our stories.